Hello there, everyone. Dr. Tam and Rocky here again today with another episode of health on how you can, number one, decrease your pain, but also increase your function and also your longevity. Now, you might notice that I'm in a different place besides the office because now I'm home and we are recording this right at home and in the comfort of my own home. But hey, I still make sure I put the scrub on for you so you know Dr. Tam is here. So, Rocky, what do we have today?
Right. Okay. Well, of course, we want to make sure that we give them as much information as we can. And today, what we are going to be talking about is something that can be a little bit sensitive for some people because we're going to be talking about fear, right?
Ooh,
So,
okay.
yeah. So, um, there are a lot of people who are afraid to go to a doctor, right? And
Right.
when I actually did my research, I was surprised that there was a term that they use for this condition, I would say,
Yeah.
which is scanxiety, right?
Yes.
Some
Yes.
even call it the white coat syndrome or white coat hypertension. But these are two different terms. So, Dr. Tam, can you tell us something more about scanxiety and white coat syndrome?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, it's so common nowadays because people don't like going to the doctors. They don't like going. Now, who would like going to the doctors, right? It's very rare that you will find people who actually wants to go to the doctor because, well, you only go to the doctor when there's a problem, when something is wrong, right? A lot of people don't like the routine maintenance, but what happens is they found the white coat syndrome is when someone goes to the doctor and before they go in, scanxiety is when they get anxiety going in. They start getting stressed the night before, they can't sleep right, they toss and turn. Upon going into the doctor, they get like 10 to 15% increase in their blood pressure, right? I mean, there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear because they don't know what's going on, but their palms are sweaty, right? And they're breathing hard. All of a sudden, some people, it's bad enough where they get a panic attack. So that's overall what scanxiety and also white coat syndrome is.
Mhm. Right. And it's actually weird. The timing is very weird because remember during the height of COVID and whatever is happening, um, we can probably look into two types of people, right? Number one is the one who really likes to go to the doctor as soon as they feel an itch on their throats, like, let me see a doctor.
Right.
And then at the same time, there were people who, are really scared of to the doctor.
Right. Because they're really afraid. Oh my God, did I get COVID? I hope I didn't. But I don't want to find out. Let's wait and see. Right.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
All right. And that's what we're going to be focusing in today, Dr. Tim. So we're going to focus on the people who are afraid to really go to a doctor, and we
Hmm.
we want to understand why that is happening as well. So we have discussed what a white coat syndrome is, and what scanxiety is. Now let's go to why does it really happen?
I mean, there's multiple factors. So let's talk about a few factors here. Number one is the emotional and mental side of the stress of getting bad news, right? Going back to people who have COVID, gosh, people before they go get tested, they don't even want to get tested because they're going to be afraid that, oh my God, I got this super virus that I have no idea what's going on. All I see is people dying all over the place, right? I don't want to be next. So they don't end up going. Or in the case of heart problems, cancer, diabetes, no one wants to be told they have diabetes because most people, most doctors will tell you, oh yeah, once you have it for life. So no one wants to go in. They don't want to hear the bad news, right? So there's the emotional aspect, and they're scared. when you don't have any control of how the news is going to be delivered and the fact that it's going to be bad news, you feel vulnerable. I mean, it's powerless. You feel hopeless, right? And almost to the point where there's too much uncertainty. No one likes uncertainty, right? People said they like surprises. You ever hear people say they like surprises, right?
Yeah, all the time.
I call BS. You know why they call BS? Is because they like good surprises. No one wants the bad surprises, right? And going to the doctor, unless if you're going to find out if you're pregnant or if it's a boy or girl, it's not a good surprise.
Yeah.
Okay. Other than that, it's probably a bad surprise. So that's one part, right? The emotional side. And then there's, the frustration a lot of patients have nowadays with their doctor. Because, okay, let's say you go in and the doctor says, wow, you know what? Let's say you Sam. Sam's our patient, right? I don't want to use my name, our name, none of our other staff's names. So let's say Sam. Okay. I don't have anyone named Sam. But Sam goes in to see the doctor and the doctor says, well, you have diabetes. And diabetes happens in, to 20 million people all over the U.S. So it's not like you're alone. There's diabetes support groups. Here's some medications. And you got to watch what you eat. Okay. Watch for the sugars. Because if you don't, now we got to put you on insulin and an insulin pump. So you might have to use that for the rest of your life. Here's your prescription. Go downstairs and get your prescription from the pharmacist. And that's it. Right? Within 2 minutes or less, the doctor tells you what you have. Here's the prescription, and that's it. So a lot of people are frustrated. They come in and I ask them, I said, so what did your doctor tell you? And what do you think they said, Rocky?
Nothing.
Nothing.
They just told me.
They said, take these pills, right? They said, just take these pills. And people are going to be frustrated because the doctor never spent the time. See, patients just want time. They want time and they want to be understood and seek out the reason why they're having this, right? It can't just be, oh, you're eating too much sugar, right? That's the only lifestyle change. That's the only lifestyle change that a lot of doctors have is don't eat that much sugar. That's it. There's nothing else. You got nothing for me, right? So there's not a lot of information. And now people end up going to Google, right? And they type up diabetes and they see neuropathy and they see the hands and feet all rotting out. And they're like, oh my God, am I going to get that? Right? Now, the lack of information. So they're already stressed to begin with, knowing that it's bad news, right? The doctor took my blood. He tested my A1C. Oh crap. I didn't get a call to tell me what the results were. I got a call that says, come in to see the doctor. Who wants that call? Right? So because the doctor never gave them enough information, now they go home and they end up calling Dr. Google, right? They start looking at videos, images. Oh my gosh, you're going to lose your ankle and foot. What? And then sometimes they end up seeing like flesh-eating diseases, as if diabetes will end up with flesh-eating diseases because it's related to the infection area. There's even more anxiety now, right?
Right. And that's actually something that personally happened to me. So I was diagnosed with PCOS.
Okay.
And the first time that I went
PCOS,
to a
lot of people don't know this, is polycystic ovarian syndrome. I feel pretty smart knowing that. PCOS. Man, okay. We're on a roll here.
And a lot of women are experiencing this, I'm sure. And I think they can relate because, the first time that I went to, I know that something was wrong. So I went to my OBGYN, and then as soon as I got there, she gave me, okay, here's what we're going to need to do. We did the test. And then after that, automatically, she just gave me a prescription for pills.
Right.
Right. She didn't really explain anything at all. Like, what you should avoid, what are the causes and all that. And I end up going to Google.
Yeah.
And then I end up seeing cancer. So it was very frustrating, and um, it was very unclear, which I ended up not trusting the doctor. So
Right. And that's a big one. See, the big one is people, because they had such a bad experience, right? You end up not trusting the doctor. Like, what? This doctor only gave me pills and that was it? That is so BS. And then come to realize you read the pills and there's so much side effects to these pills.
yes.
And that's when you realize, oh, this is just a band aid. PCOS causes a lot of pain, and they pretty much just gave me pain medications, and the doctor never
And
tells you
one
why
more
you got it.
Mhm. In the first place, no. And one more thing is you end up not following what the doctor said because it wasn't really explained to you. Like, what would this pill do for you, right? So, um, as long as I don't feel that much pain, I'm okay. I'm not gonna follow this.
Right.
So that was my
Now it leads
experience.
to non-compliance. And then the doctor, the next time they see you, hey, Rocky, did you take all those pills? Nope. I didn't. Why didn't you take them? They get so mad when you don't take those pills. Right?
Right.
And it's like, well, doc, all you did was tell me to take the pills. You didn't tell me what the pills do, why I need to take them, what other lifestyle changes you got to make, right? So you end up being distrusting the doctors. See, because of whether you call it past traumas or past experiences, right? You feel it. You feel that distrust and you don't want to go back anymore, you know? And some people have other bad experiences. Maybe they were a kid and they got a shot, like a immunity shot, a vaccine shot or whatnot, right? But they freaked out so much because the doctor says, "Oh, it's not going to hurt," and then every time it ended up hurting so bad that every time they go back to the doctor, they see the doctor, they feel pain in their arm again.
Yeah.
I remember. Here's the thing. I don't know. It's not like this in the U.S., but in China, okay, whenever you got sick, you get two things. It could be one, it's minor. And I thank God most of the time it's minor. And when it's minor, your parents feed you some medications or bring you to the Chinese doctor and they put like crickets and roaches and tree bark in there and they boil this terrible medicine, stinks up the whole house, and then you end up after drinking it. Okay. But if it's a little bit more severe, the moment you get a fever in China as a kid, my mom will bring me to the hospital. They'll put an IV saline in me. And then the doctor tells you to drop your pants, bend over, and they're going to give you a shot in the butt.
Oh my.
Okay. I clearly remember this happening this one time. I think I was 6 years old. And the moment because it's happened so many times and I hate shots as a kid. Now I get vitamin shots and everything because I know it's good for me, right? But back then, the doctor was like, "Oh, it's not going to hurt." Dude, it's going to hurt. It hurt. One time I ran out of the room. I got to the front of the hospital and I got dragged back in to get my shot. Like in my visual was seeing the light and the door opening. And all of a sudden, I felt someone grab me. I can't remember who it was, whether it was the nurse or my mom, and started pulling me back, and the door started looking further and further away. I mean, it was like it happened in slow motion. Till this day, I remember that incident. And my mom would be like, "Oh, God, you are so terrible. You try to run out, and we had to go catch you." And I was like, I remember that till this day. I must have been younger than 6. For that, something like that, for it to be so memorable. But and that's
Yeah, and that's the thing as well, right? When we were younger, we had parents who would, accompany us and take us to the doctor, someone to hold your
Right.
hand, right? But as you get older, you have to wear your big boy pants and, go to the doctor alone. And sometimes we don't really outgrow those
Right.
fears,
You
right?
don't.
So
You don't.
we end up having this
Right.
anxieties.
Right. You get that PTSD, post traumatic stress
Mhm.
disorder. But instead of being in a war, it's been from going to the doctors. It's still post traumatic. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
All
then
right.
okay. So there's
And
next. The next thing is there's
mhm,
also economic factors into it, right? Oh,
yep.
does my insurance cover it? What's the cost it's going to be? It's going to end up costing a lot of money. And people are going to be wondering that, you know? So those are pretty much, I mean, I would say those are some big factors of why people have scanxiety and why they might have white coat syndrome.
Right. And let's also talk about, the dangers, because of course, if you don't go to the doctor, you end up just like what you said, going to Dr.
Dr.
Google,
Google,
right?
WebMD,
So,
right?
yeah, Mayo
Uh-huh.
Clinic, right? So, what are the dangers of this of self-diagnosing?
Well, the biggest danger of self-diagnosing is getting the wrong diagnosis. We've had people and heard a lot of stories where neuropathy is one of them. Neuropathy, because not a lot of people understand neuropathy and why people get it. I've heard people thinking that they get the tingling in their feet and hands. Well, if they search tingling feet and hands, one of the things that could come up is fibromyalgia. Well, if you look at fibromyalgia and there's no cure for it, right? There's only pills. There's nerve pills that they end up taking, but they never got the right diagnosis to begin with. So now they just end up taking pain pills. Maybe not understanding, hey, what's the cause? Maybe not understanding that they had neuropathy all along. Was it from their diabetes? Is their diabetes not being under control? Is it from alcoholism? Is it from certain drugs that they're taking? So I think that's the biggest thing. Or maybe they're losing weight and all of a sudden, instead of one thing, it's another, right? Taking the wrong medication is a big one. For example, if someone has a bacterial infection and all they take are viral medications, well, viral medications for viruses don't really attack bacteria and vice versa, right? They could be taking the wrong thing. Like, oh, yeah, my mom has antibiotics from the last time she had an infection, right? Let me just grab a couple of her pills. And you end up not getting better because it wasn't a bacteria to begin with. It was a virus. So it's those are two factors. A big third one is people end up going to the doctors too late when they self-diagnose. When you're always on WebMD, Dr. Google, and you're just searching for different symptoms, you never got a blood test, right? I mean, my father is a good example. He had this huge lump on the inside of his left leg, okay, on his inner thigh. And he had a lump. He never told anybody. He would massage it to see if it'll go down, but that lump kept getting bigger. And on the inside of your leg, there are things called lymph nodes. By the time he told us about it, you could see it through his pants. Like there was it's almost like a half of a tennis ball sticking out of his leg. And we went to the doctor and they found out that it was non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, already in stage 3. They did a biopsy and they said, it's benign, but it could metastasize. It's one or the other. They're not sure, right? But they knew it was stage 3. And come to know, it already started traveling to his colon, right? Part of it was in his liver and kidneys. And they went through chemo right away, radiation. They did everything they could. Was it the right thing to do? It's time. You just never know, right? But either way, he did not want to go to the doctors. So he tried to do his own thing. And it ended up, we diagnosed it. That diagnosis was made. He didn't tell anybody until January. And then by December, he passed away because it already metastasized to the rest of his body. And there was nothing anyone could do about it. Right? So it comes down to the sooner you know, the better. Is it fearful? Because is there a lot of fear that goes along with having to find out what's really going on? Yeah, because you don't know. So you're thinking like the worst thing, right? Had he caught it earlier, before the cancer cells metastasize, we might still have them today, right? So that's those are the dangers of self-diagnosing.
And as I say, you always have a choice, right? In life, you always have a choice. It's either you do this or that. So in this case, I think one of the biggest choices is to really go see a doctor, or wait until it becomes
I mean,
worse.
it's true.
So
Whatever
your
result that we're getting
choice,
in
right?
life, one of my mentors told me that your behaviors drove you into it, into the hole, right? So people got to back out of the hole. What do you have to do? Well, you got to use your behaviors to get yourself out of the hole, because your behaviors drove yourself in the hole to begin with, and people are the same way with doctors. It's crazy, but I need to learn from him.
Right.
He passed away at 52 and I turned 40, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
foods I eat, the workouts that I do, the checkups, the vitamins, that's why we built our clinic. I built our clinic as a health clinic for function and longevity, because I don't want to just leave my family at 52. It happened to him. But then again, my grandfather is almost 90 and he's still running and traveling.
All right. And so yeah, so I guess we can say that everyone's really afraid of the doctor. I mean, who's not, right? So how do we combat that? I mean, how do we
Well,
conquer our
I think the
fears
first
or
thing people have to
alleviate it?
do is, if they do fear, right? They know that they fear going to the doctor. Say if you have an appointment tomorrow, find someone that you trust that you can bring with you to the doctors. Find someone that you trust. If someone has an appointment, just bring somebody. See, that's going to calm you down, right? Whether you just have them there, if your loved one, hold their hand, be there to support each other. Because this video is not only for people who are afraid of doctors, it's for family members to have an understanding of what their other family members are going through. See, guys are the worst. The reason guys are the worst is because we act tough. Okay, guys always want to act tough. Oh, no, I don't need to see the doctor. The doctor's got nothing on me. You're not about to fight the doctor, okay? You're going to see the doctor to see if there's a problem with you or not. You don't have to put this persona that you're tough, okay? Viruses, bacteria, and diseases could care less if you're tough, all right? They're going to get you either way, okay?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of us need to drop that persona and ask for help. It doesn't make you any less manly to go ask a friend, a loved one, a brother or sister to go with you to the doctor because you're freaked out, right? You're the only one that is scared and think that they might laugh at you. They're not going to laugh at you. They're probably scared themselves. No one is like, woohoo, I get to go to the doctor. Okay? You see, that's number one. Find someone that you can trust. Okay? But before even that, I would say to find the right doctor, you need to establish the correct relationship with the doctor. All right? Now, what does that mean? That means that a doctor should give you comfort. You should be able to trust them. They should be able to bond with you. Your doctor should know what you really want. What are you looking for? right? Are you looking to be healthy? Everyone's looking to be healthy and less pain, but the doctor needs to understand your goals. See, the reason why the doctor needs to understand your goals is that the doctor needs to also have a bond with you and also keep you accountable. You're dropping the ball. Let's just say someone's experience or goal is to coming into our office is want to jog, do a 5K one day, right? Their legs and their back is hurting so bad. They just want to do a 5K like they used to, right? And now I can keep them accountable. I
Right.
can say, going back to Sam now, we're going to use Sam. I can say, hey, Sam, you got to do these stretches and exercise. Sam's like, oh, doc, I forgot again. I'll say, Sam, you want to get to that 5K, right? Oh, yeah, I do. See, the doctor has to understand you and know who you are as a person, right? Or maybe a lot of times I say, well, you want to play with your grandkids again and maybe go to Hawaii and walk on the beach, right? So do these exercises, eat well, okay? Do these stretches, right? Don't fall off the wagon. A doctor is there to help you get back on the wagon, okay? And the last thing is, a doctor should be a
Right.
teacher, not a big shot. I see doctors as teachers because they're there to guide you, to give you information, to help you, to make sure that you are better equipped. We're leaders. Doctors are a leader of your health. We're like our health advocate, right? You want better health? We're here for you. I'm here for your own good to make sure you don't get tricked by taking just medications out of nowhere unnecessarily, right? To keep you away from drills, scalpels, and saws, all right? Going under the knife. And that's our job, is to make sure that you want to make sure as a patient that the doctor has your best interests in his or her mind. Okay, it's not just about the prescription,
Yes.
right? And lastly, if you're really still freaked out, go get more checkups more often. Just go for a checkup, right? Go say hi, okay? And break that fear. Or maybe you have your loved ones wear a
One
white
step at a
coat and walk around the house.
time. Yeah.
Deconditionalize yourself, decondition yourself. They do that in the Navy or NASA. How do they keep you from throwing up in the spacecraft? They throw you in water, tie you up to a chair, and spin you around until you throw up enough where you get used to it. Now you won't throw up anymore. So desensitizing it is.
I remember the movie The Guardian, right? They put them on ice water so they don't get cold in the
Right.
Pacific. So all right. And I think the biggest takeaways really here is a doctor patient relationship should really be a partnership, right? We previously talked about doctors stopping the relationship after they diagnose it and give them prescriptions. um, some doctors don't even do the follow-ups
Right.
anymore, right? 60 to 70% of doctors don't do that anymore. So I think it's really the biggest takeaway to keep it a very good
Absolutely.
partnership, because and for you both to
It goes
understand each
both
other's
ways because,
goals.
when patients come in, we give them options. We tell them, you know what, we'll find out. Number one, we got to find out what's really wrong with you first, what the problem is. And then after that, our job is to tell you what's going on, why it's there, what we can do to fix it, and here are the options to fix it. And now you have to decide. As a patient, you get to decide. A doctor should give you a decision, A, B, or C. And here's the benefits, here's the pros, here's the cons, and here's why. And then they will ask, well, Dr. Tam, if it was up to you, what would you do? And I will gladly give my recommendation. If I was you, I'll go with option A or option B, right? And now I want to empower patients, not just tell them what to do. And I believe that that's the only way to be able to treat people, is empower them, So
Right. Right.
That's
making
it,
the right
Rocky.
decisions.
Yeah,
All right. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Tam, for giving this information to our viewers. And if you haven't yet, you can please subscribe to our channel so that we can continue giving you more information on decrease pain, improve your function, and
that's it.
increase your
That's what we're here
longevity.
for.
All right. So please like
All
and
right. We'll
subscribe.
see you. Thank you, Rocky.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tam.
See you
We'll
on the
see you
next
on the
one.
next one. Thank you.